Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. So we're almost at the end of 2023. It's coming up to Christmas. This is a little bit terrifying because it feels like 2023 is just shot by. It's so weird. I feel like I've only just turned 21 and now I'm 22 in a month's time, so very weird. Anyway, so this is my usual end of the year wrap, I guess, on music that came out this year. And if I'm being completely honest, there hasn't actually been much this year that's really stood out to me, which maybe that's because I haven't listened to enough stuff that came out this year. I don't know, nothing really stood out to me like a whole bunch, apart from these four records. These four I'm going to talk about stood out to me more than any. I felt like 2022 was a lot better in terms of new releases. I don't know why, I think more came out last year that I liked than this year. Before we begin, we'll do our album of the day. Okay. It's got a long name, so I'll just take it over here. So this is by Godspeed You Black Emperor, and it's called Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven. I actually found this album this year, and I don't remember how I found it, I just came across it, and it's really, really freaking good. It's very depressing, but it is musically just phenomenal. And it's got 4 tracks on it, all about 20 minutes long, and they're all very drony, very progressive, and yeah, so if you do like your progressive and kind of avant-garde music, then this one is definitely one to check out because it really threw my mind in a weird direction. When I listened to it, it was I don't know what to think of this. Of course I liked it, but I was like, I don't know how to perceive this, if that makes sense. On with the video. As I said, only 4 albums this year. I know, it's a bit weak, but I discovered more bands than I did listen to new music, if that makes any sense. So my next video after this will be the bands and artists that I discovered in 2023, but these are the albums that were released in 2023 that I enjoyed. So we'll start with the obvious one, and that is The Harmony Codex by Steven Wilson. I was fortunate enough to actually go to a professional listening of this album, and I think that really helped with my opinion on the record, because every time I've listened to it since, it's not been as, you know, groundbreaking as the first time I heard it. Then again, it's not really a groundbreaking record. It's really, really good. I love the direction that Steven Wilson took with this record. I love all the different tracks having different vibes, yet all having something in common and fitting really nicely into the record together, being very coherent. And yeah, it's just really, really good. And there was one track on here, if I can remember which one, I think it was Impossible Tightrope, that when I first heard it, it definitely reminded me of like a early King Crimson kind of vibe with the crazy, proggy, jazzy stuff going on. And yeah, we actually bought this when it came out. So this is a fantastic record if you haven't checked it out yet. I know quite a lot of people didn't like this record, and I can see why. There is quite a lot of what some people may deem as overly accessible music, but I don't really think that's an issue. If it's done well, it's done well. So, you know, obviously the production as well on this album is phenomenal. So, brilliant. So the next album I'm going to talk about, so this band hadn't actually released an album in, I think, 7 years. And this is a band I've loved since I was a teenager. 72 Seasons by Metallica. Now this one, I remember when they released the first single, I think it was Lux Eterna, which was the first one. I thought, you know, this is actually pretty good. This is catchy, it's fun. I know everyone was complaining about it. Just as a song, yeah, it was fun, you know? And then obviously they released the other singles and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is, you know, gearing up to be probably a pretty good album because I like the singles and whatnot. And then the album came out. Oops. The album came out, and I bought it on the day it came out, and hadn't heard it, so I just kind of bought it, took it home. Me and Johan actually listened to it together because we're both fans of Metallica, so it was like, okay, gotta listen to this together. And it's a good album. I don't have the vinyl because I don't know why, but everywhere I've been trying to find the vinyl for this album, it's been just so expensive, and I'm not paying 40 quid for this album. It's not that good, but it is a good album, and I bought the CD because why not? And it's obviously very, very Metallica, you know, they've got all the formula and everything like that, but I do think that it works, and it worked as an album. It's a good album. I do think I prefer Hardwired, although I do think some parts of Hardwired are quite drawn out, because that is a very long album, as is this one actually. There are points on this album where I'm a bit like, okay, I've heard this exact thing before in the previous song. But the stuff that is good on this album, the songs that are good, really are good. And hearing them live at Download this year really helped, because it kind of changed my view on some of the songs and made me think, oh, actually, this song's pretty good in the way that they're doing it live, if that makes sense. Sometimes bands will do that. But yeah, 72 Seasons is a good album. I enjoyed it, and I have listened to it a few times since and enjoyed it each time. Okay, next one. I know everyone in the metal community has really been hyping up this band lately, as of recent, like this year. And I think that it's, you know, it's so deserved for them, because they've really broke through, and I really cannot wait for the stuff that they're going to come out with after this, because I think I saw an article where people were saying that they're probably going to be the next big thing, and if that is the case, then I'm alright with that, because I think they've got something special going on, and that is Spirit Box. I might be cheating a bit, because this is an EP and not an album. That's why the name of the video is Top 4 Releases rather than Top 4 Albums. So yeah, this is the latest EP from Spirit Box, who are a metal band, and they are really good. I actually did a review of this album. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put it up there. But I think the great thing about this EP is, I watched a bunch of interviews with the band talking about it, is each song is connected, they're all linked. I think when I've listened to it a few times, I listened to this a lot. All the tracks run into each other, so it's like one big song, basically. But all of them, the more you listen to it, you realise, oh, there's actually similarities within each of the tracks. And I think it's kind of proggy in that kind of way, because everything's linked. I think there is a concept attached to this, not like a major one, but I don't remember. But each song on this album, it's got like a different vibe. Obviously you've got like the breakdowny stuff of tracks like Cellar Door, and then you've got the more kind of ethereal songs with stuff like Jaded and Ultraviolet and The Void, which since my last video, I know I was complaining about a couple of songs on this album and not liking them so much, they've actually really grown on me, and I listen to this EP just in full a lot now. I whack it on all the time when I'm at home with the vinyl. This is a really great album, and I cannot wait for what Spirit Box is going to do next. And I really want them to come and do a tour here, but the only problem is the only show they're doing in the UK this next year, it's Reading Festival. Now, if you're from the UK, you'll know that Reading Festival is full of absolute cretins. I've never been, and I never will be, because every time I've spoken to someone who's been to Reading, they've usually had a pretty terrible experience. Okay, and the very last album, we're gonna shift moods from something a bit more heavy to something very calm, very chill, and that is Everything Is Alive by Slowdive. That rhymes. This one I was pretty late to. I remember seeing everyone talking about it when it came out, but I just didn't listen to it because I wasn't really into them at that point. But then my boyfriend showed me Souvlaki, and I really enjoyed that record, which recommend if you haven't heard it. So then I listened to this one, and I thought, this is just so nice. And you know, sometimes you listen to too much metal and you're like, I think I need something chill. I need to chill out for a bit, you know, cool down. This was the band I always went to. This was, you know, I play Souvlaki a lot. And this album, it's just, I was listening to it actually this morning as I was doing my hair and makeup for the video. And I was just sat there and I was like, this is just, I could just fall asleep, you know, but in like the good way. It's like so chill and so relaxing. Like, it felt like a warm blanket. Like, it was just so nice to listen to. So I really do recommend this one if you like you're kind of chilled out, very shoegazy kind of vibe, then definitely check out this record. It's very nice. That concludes today's video. I'm sorry there are not more albums. I just didn't listen to that much this year that came out this year. I got into bands more than I listened to new releases, if that makes any sense. Like, I was really reconnecting with my metal roots this year and listening to a lot of all the albums that I loved when I was younger and discovering bands that I'd never listened to before. And yeah, so I didn't really listen to too many new albums, but if there are albums in 2023 that you enjoyed, please let me know down below. I will check them out because I feel like it's kind of sad. I've only got a few, and one of them's an EP as well. If you aren't aware, me and my family, we have a Discogs record store, and you know, probably can't get anything out now because it's really, really close to Christmas. But if you want to get some albums, you can check in the description below. We have progressive rock, psych rock, blah blah blah, all that kind of good stuff, as I say in every video. So just check that out, and all my Spotify stuff is in the links in the description. I will probably be making a playlist of my favourite songs of 2023. You know, it's probably all just gonna be from those 4 albums. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.